I just want people to remember why we made the movie in the first place and what it stands for, and just keeping the focus on that. Like that movie meant so much to me, and I have someone very, very close to me in my life who's gone through what Lily's going through for a long time, and I've been on the front lines helping her navigate that space. So that movie meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
And it means a lot to her, this person in my life, and it was one of the reasons that me doing that film gave her the strength to change her life. So like,
you say focus on that.
yeah, it means a lot to me. So it's unfortunate that things get taken away from what the ethos of that thing is, and it gets convoluted. And I just want to remind people of why that thing exists in the first place.
Blake Lively's co-stars have had enough of staying quiet, and now that they're finally speaking out, it's not looking good for her. First, Colleen Hoover switched sides, and now Brandon Sklenar and Isabella Ferrer are making it loud and clear that they're keeping their distance. The more this mess unfolds, the more it's starting to look like they backed the wrong team. Let's be real. Blake's Golden Girl era? Shattered. Completely crumbled right in front of our eyes. And the way things are going, it's only getting worse. So, let's start with Brandon Sklenar, the guy who plays Atlas, aka Lily's childhood sweetheart in the movie. You'd think he'd be all in for this project, right? Well, lately he's been busy promoting his other gig, 1923, and doing his own thing, until of course, the inevitable happened. Someone hit him with the question, what does he think about the Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni scandal? And y'all, his reaction? Straight up Olympic-level dodging. This man swerved that question like his career depended on it. Instead of answering, he threw out the most generic nonsense. Stuff like, I just want people to remember why we made the movie, and a whole lot of other blah blah blah. Basically, anything but the actual answer.
Blake and Justin. I'm wondering what you're thinking about that, processing it, navigating it. It doesn't involve you, but because you're in the cast, I'm wondering what you're thinking.
And let's be real. When someone is dodging that hard, it's usually because they don't want to slip up and say the wrong thing. And funny enough, isn't this exactly what Justin Baldoni has been doing from the start? Ever since he got the rights to the book, Justin has been out here sidestepping every tough question. Even at the movie premiere, when the rest of the cast, including Brandon, was dressed in florals and writing for Blake, they were more focused on the aesthetic than the actual point of the story. So now, Brandon's out here twisting Justin's words, but let's be real, he's just repeating what Justin has been saying all along.
I just want people to remember why we made the movie in the first place and what it stands for, and just keeping the focus on that. Like that movie meant so much to me, and I have someone very, very close to me in my life who's gone through what Lily's going through for a long time, and I've been on the front lines helping her navigate that space. So that movie meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
And it means a lot to her, this person in my life, and it was one of the reasons that me doing that film gave her the strength to change her life. So like,
You say focus on that.
yeah, it means a lot to me. So it's unfortunate that things get taken away from what the ethos of that thing is, and it gets convoluted. And I just want to remind people of why that thing.
I get that.
This movie was supposed to make an impact, especially for those who've lived through DV and needed their voices heard. But after all the drama, all the division, and all the damage, suddenly, the cast has conveniently remembered the movie's actual purpose. The same purpose they completely ignored when they chose to help Blake push her overpriced, ineffective shampoo instead. Seriously? Now they want to act like they care? Thankfully, Gayle King wasn't here for the nonsense. She cut straight to the chase and asked the real question. Is he Team Blake or Team Justin? And y'all, his answer said it all. Let's hear it straight from him, because trust me, this didn't stop there. Boom, there it is. He said, I am Team It Ends With Us. That alone tells you everything. The entire cast has jumped ship. They don't want to flat out admit they're siding with Justin, but let's be honest. It's clear they're distancing themselves from Blake. It's all about being politically correct now, which, let's be real, is exactly what they should have done from the start. But in case y'all still don't see just how big of a deal this is, let me paint the full picture. And for that, we need to rewind, because this part is wild. Flashback to December 2024. Brandon Sklenar wasn't just supporting Blake, he was all in. This man was 10 toes down, riding hard for her. He even reposted her legal complaint against Justin Baldoni on Instagram, threw in a heart emoji, and basically told people to believe Blake, no questions asked.
Because none of that matters. None of it. That's not why we're in the business. That's not why the three of us are in this business, is to attend a premiere like that and be celebrated. We're in this business because we're artists. And we believe in what we do. And because we want to create art that touches people's hearts and souls and can move people. And that's what we did. That's what you both did. And I believe that will follow each of us, and that truth will prevail, and that light and love.
Fast forward a few months, and suddenly, silence. The same guy who was shouting from the rooftops is now tiptoeing around the whole thing, and people are asking, what changed? At the time, Sklenar was loudly backing his co-star Blake Lively after she accused their fellow actor and director, Justin Baldoni, of SA and assault. He even posted Lively's entire complaint against Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios on his Instagram story with a bold message. For the love of God, read this. So what happened between then and now? Because one thing is clear, he doesn't seem so sure anymore. Brandon Sklenar didn't just support Blake. He went all in, tagging her with a heart emoji on Instagram like he was ready to ride for her no matter what. But now, crickets. And this is exactly why we need to talk about how fast Hollywood will switch up. At first, it seemed like everyone was siding with Blake. She was the bigger star, the bigger name. And when she dropped those bombshell accusations against Justin, it looked like an easy choice for the industry. But that was before the public started actually looking at the facts. Now, people are realizing something important. Just because someone is a beloved actress doesn't automatically mean they're telling the truth. And with more details coming out, a lot of people, including Blake's own co-stars, are starting to question if they jumped the gun way too soon. And that is exactly why Brandon Sklenar's energy has completely changed. The guy who was once dropping love emojis on Blake's posts? Yeah, not anymore. But let's talk about this whole staying neutral narrative, because in Hollywood, we all know what that really means. Neutrality isn't about fairness. It's just a fancy way of stalling to see who actually wins before picking a side. Trust me, the cast members have read Justin's lawsuit, and now they're being extra careful. Nobody wants to risk their career over someone else's mess, especially when the legal jargon starts flying. But here's where it gets messy. Brandon's initial reaction, his full-on support for Blake, didn't go unnoticed. So now that he's backtracking, it's not going to be that easy. A half-hearted pivot won't be enough. Once you take a stance in the court of public opinion, there is no turning back. Like it or not, this is going to follow him for a long, long time. And let's be real. People are always going to ask why he actively participated in trying to take down an innocent man. But wait, there's more. Brandon isn't the only one trying to backpedal. Isabella Ferrer, who plays young Lily in the movie, has also been noticeably quiet. She was originally following Blake's lead, standing by her side, but now she's not waving that Blake Lively flag anymore. And y'all already know what that means. When people start quietly distancing themselves, it's usually because they know something we don't. Isabella has been a key player in this entire scandal, and her name has even been mentioned in both Blake and Justin's lawsuits. So what does she really know? And why is she suddenly silent? Justin Baldoni's lawsuit didn't just come with claims, it came with receipts. Screenshots of text messages allegedly from Isabella Ferrer paint a very different picture from the one Blake Lively has been pushing. In those texts, Ferrer supposedly thanked Baldoni for an amazing experience on her first ever feature film. She allegedly wrote, "You are such a wonderful, smart, and sincere director. You created such a comfortable, safe space for me to feel like I could fully step into this role. I couldn't have asked for a more welcoming environment. It will stay with me for the rest of my life." Now, let's pause right there. Does that sound like someone who felt unsafe on set? Not at all. But according to the lawsuit, everything changed once Ferrer started spending more time with Blake Lively during the film's promotional tour. It wasn't until then that she suddenly felt the need to distance herself from Baldoni. And y'all, I just remembered something wild. On the day of It Ends With Us premiere, Ferrer did a full 180. In an interview, she was fangirling hard just from standing next to Blake. She couldn't stop gushing about being in her presence. And if that wasn't enough, let's talk about her entire outfit that day. She wasn't just showing support. She was dressed head to toe in Blake Lively. The floral dress, the bracelets, the shoes, all from Blake's collection. If that's not a walking endorsement, I don't know what is. And honestly, she didn't have a choice. Ferrer had to stick by Blake, especially after Blake made it clear that she only landed the role because Taylor Swift pulled some strings for her. And guess what? We later found out that wasn't even completely true. So, yeah, let's be real. Blake didn't just go after Baldoni. She had the entire cast wrapped around her finger. She played by her own rules, and they all followed. Even Justin himself had to play along. And as for Taylor, well, one thing is clear. Isabella Ferrer has gone completely silent ever since Baldoni started dropping actual evidence. And now, most people believe that Brandon Sklenar and the rest of the cast only backed Blake at first because, let's be real, they had to. Nobody wants to be labeled as the person who doesn't believe a woman in these kinds of situations. But now that the truth is getting murkier, Brandon is doing everything he can to make sure he doesn't sink with this ship.
Taylor may have had some influence in getting. Yes, she did. Yeah, I know. I don't even know if I'm meant to be saying it, but I'm saying it. Yeah, she was a helpful part of the process of the audition, which I found out later after I got it, and that rocked my world. Yeah.
And there's another issue that's suddenly getting attention. Just how much influence Blake had over the entire cast. Because let's be real, her power over them was way bigger than anything Justin could ever offer for their careers. If anything, the only reason Blake got away with so much was because even Justin knew that if he didn't play nice, his entire career could be on the chopping block. And that, my friends, is exactly how we ended up with Ryan Reynolds' version of the infamous rooftop scene. Let's be honest, going against Blake wasn't just about her. It meant going against Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds too. And y'all know there's a reason Blake made sure to bring them into the equation. We're talking about industry titans, people who have enough power to end entire careers with a single phone call. Like, let's put it this way. If Ryan Reynolds decides he's done with you, you're finished. There's no comeback, no redemption arc, it's over. So when people say, oh, the cast members are just waiting to see how this plays out, what they really mean is that they're treading carefully, making sure they stay in Hollywood's good books once the dust settles. And honestly, can you even blame them? The second you go against the machine, you better have an army behind you, because Hollywood doesn't do loyalty. You either play the game or get crushed by it. I mean, just look at Diddy. And now, Blake Lively's entire world must be falling apart. Because Brandon Sklenar's latest response makes one thing loud and clear. She no longer has the backup she thought she did. Let's not forget, Colleen Hoover was the first to jump ship. And now, Blake's realizing that she completely overplayed her hand. Hollywood is a game of alliances, and right now, her list of allies is shrinking by the day. And y'all, this is just the beginning of the fallout. Because it turns out that Brandon and Isabella backing away opened the floodgates for even more people to start distancing themselves. Blake Lively's own publicist, Leslie Sloan, just made a formal request to be removed from the lawsuit. Yep, she wants out. She's seen where this is heading and is trying to escape the mess. But let's be real, it's too late for that. For those who might have missed it, here's how Leslie Sloan got caught up in this disaster. According to Baldoni, Leslie wasn't just handling PR. She was allegedly the mastermind pulling all the strings behind the scenes. And if you know anything about Hollywood's elite, you know this woman has been running the show for years, cleaning up messes, managing scandals, and making sure her clients' dirty laundry never saw the light of day. And that's exactly why Blake had her front and center when she decided to go after Justin Baldoni. But at what cost? Because now, Leslie's name is being dragged through the mud, and these new receipts aren't just bad for Blake. They're making Leslie look even worse. And if Hollywood's top fixer can't even fix this mess, you already know it's bad. Sources deep inside the situation have come forward with explosive claims. Leslie Sloan allegedly went to extreme lengths to cover for Blake Lively, making sure she never had to face the consequences of her own actions. And when I say extreme, I mean silencing whistleblowers, manipulating narratives, and even discrediting Justin Baldoni with a full-blown smear campaign. The leaked emails and messages say it all. There was a clear plan to frame Baldoni while keeping Blake's reputation flawless. According to an anonymous insider, Sloan had no problem throwing anyone under the bus as long as it meant protecting her client. She knew exactly what she was doing, and she did it without hesitation. And the timing? Highly suspicious. This was right around when Baldoni started getting hit with negative press, something his legal team has now officially included in their lawsuit. Because guess what? They've got the receipts. Turns out, the attack on Justin wasn't spontaneous. It was planned out long before the New York Times dropped that bombshell article about him. That just shows you how powerful, connected, and ruthless Leslie Sloan is, allegedly. But here's where it gets wild. Sloan is now scrambling to get her name wiped off Baldoni's lawsuit. She's desperate to remove herself from this mess because teaming up with Blake might just be the biggest mistake of her career. But unlike Brandon Sklenar, Sloan doesn't get to walk away. She's in. And not just named in the lawsuit, she's set to testify. That means she's about to burn through every last penny Blake paid her just to cover her legal fees. And guess what? She's now demanding that Justin Baldoni be the one to pay those fees. Make it make sense. But with more evidence coming to light, the truth is getting harder to ignore. And Leslie Sloan might be the next one to fall. Justin Baldoni wasn't just falsely accused, he was set up. And the real masterminds behind it all? None other than Leslie Sloan and Blake Lively. Despite the relentless attacks on his character, despite the false accusations, Baldoni refused to let Hollywood's power games turn him into just another casualty. And now, the tables are turning. Because let's be honest, the way Blake's cast members are jumping ship? It's not a good look for her. Her once solid claims are starting to seem shady at best. Public opinion has shifted massively ever since Justin started exposing Blake and Sloan, and it's not just about the truth coming out. It's about the fact that people feel like they were played, and nothing turns the tide faster than realizing you've been fooled. And just when you think it couldn't get worse for Blake and Ryan, it absolutely does. Turns out they're scrambling behind the scenes, trying to get Justin's lawsuit dismissed. Their legal team has already filed a motion to throw out the $400 million defamation case, hoping to shut this down before it blows up even more. But let's be real, this move is giving desperate. At this point, Blake still doesn't seem to grasp how serious this is. She's acting like she can pick and choose who gets to question her, even suggesting that she might refuse to sit for a deposition if Justin's attorney, Brian Friedman, is involved. Girl, news flash! That's not how this works. Legal experts are already dragging her for this ridiculous stunt, making it clear that no judge is about to entertain this nonsense. And honestly, it's not just Blake's reputation that's crumbling. At this point, Blake and Ryan's entire defense is looking shaky. More and more people are siding with Justin, especially after new stories surfaced about his genuine kindness. Like, let's talk about how he let someone stay at his home after they lost everything in the recent LA fires. The more people learn who he really is, the more it's becoming clear. Hollywood tried to bury the wrong guy. Meanwhile, over in Blake's camp, it's full-blown damage control mode. Everyone is scrambling to protect their reputations, distancing themselves as fast as possible. But let's be real. The damage is already done. And if this case keeps moving forward the way it's expected to, oh, they are in for a rude awakening. But now, I gotta know. What do you think? Are people finally waking up to Blake's manipulation? Or is there still more to this story? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I need to hear what y'all think. And while you're at it, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss a thing. I'll be keeping you posted on every twist and turn. And trust me, this drama isn't slowing down anytime soon. Stay locked in, and I'll see you on the next one.